MP Kevin, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Good to see you. I mean, lots to talk about this morning with regard to Keir Starmer in his foreign policy, but let's talk a little bit about a letter that you've written to the Electoral Commission, because the Parliamentary Commission for Standards as well. You're concerned about this £700,000 donation money, which appears to have been, shall we say, not exactly transparently passed from one place to another.
Yeah, I mean, it's another cover-up. We saw Angela Rayner trying to cover up her misdeeds with her stamp duty. We're seeing similar behaviour now from the Prime Minister and his chief advisor, Morgan McSweeney, about a cover-up of these donations, which came from a donor they didn't want to disclose at a time when Keir Starmer was trying to secure leadership of the Labour Party off Jeremy Corbyn. They got it from a donation from what they obviously thought was a sensitive source, and so they decided not to declare it, that you can't do that. It's supposed to be declared to the Electoral Commission. And also, apparently, Keir Starmer himself has not declared his donations he received personally for things like polling and for other kinds of support to the parliamentary standards, through the parliamentary standards process. So we've asked for an investigation by the Electoral Commission and indeed by the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner.
You've also said that you called on the Electoral Commission to investigate and refer the case to police, because you say it's not just bad judgment, it's a potential crime.
Well, that's right. Not declaring donations received in this way is a potential crime. So, you know, if there is an offence has been committed, it should be investigated. Keir Starmer should be treated like any other citizen in this country. If you do something wrong, and particularly if you then cover it up, which has clearly happened, and we've got the emails, and people who want to read the letter I've written to the Electoral Commission or the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner, it sets it all out there, exactly what we've received in terms of this information. It shows that Morgan McSweeney lied to the Electoral Commission when he said it'd been an admin error when they failed to declare it the last time. It actually was a deliberate concealing of the source of these donations. That was the reason they weren't properly declared. So this has been a cover-up.
It's an awful lot of money, isn't it, to forget to register?
Well, it's £740,000, a huge amount, and this was then passed on to both Keir Starmer and to various other Labour politicians, including Rachel Reeves and Lucy Powell, and they declared their donations. Keir Starmer's not, and that's a very significant breaking of the rules. And certainly if a Conservative politician had done it, Keir Starmer would be calling for our heads, and we want a proper investigation. Due process should take place, but I think these are very serious allegations that need to be answered.
I mean, ever since the Keir Starmer government has been going, they seem to have had one scandal after another. They said that they were going to be transparent in public office. They said they were going to be an organisation that put the country first and the party second. They said that they were going to be bringing up new standards of public life. They weren't going to allow for sleaze. It was going to be a broom. Everything was going to be different. You know, where's it all gone wrong for them?
Well, I think they just took in opposition. They took the moral high ground. They said they were squeaky clean. They criticised anybody who did anything wrong. And when you enter office and you do things wrong, you should expect to be held to account. So, and clearly, I personally think it's because people like Keir Starmer thinks he is so virtuous that he can't do anything that's not virtuous because of his virtuosity. You know, I think it's this Kafkaesque kind of approach he's taken to this whole thing since he entered office, taking all those gifts from Lord Ali, of course, and then we've seen scandal after scandal, as you say, even recently. Angela Rayner, which we exposed her wrongdoing, Peter Mandelson with his Epstein relationship, and now we're seeing this donation scandal, and it is a scandal. You cannot take donations from sources without declaring them to the Electoral Commission and then to the parliamentary authorities. This is wrong. It is clear what has happened. It needs to be investigated, and if found guilty, sanctions imposed.
Yeah. And what do you think that the Standards Commission and the Electoral Commission will do about your letter? Will they get straight to it? I mean, will they take months and months to look at this?
Well, we've seen previous investigations, particularly the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner can act very quickly. And again, the Electoral Commission, this evidence is very clear. And the point with this is the previous excuses for non-declaration of these donations was admin error. This email that we have got, that we provided to the Electoral Commission, says very clearly this was a deliberate cover-up. It should not take long at all to reinvestigate this and then take forward any action that needs to be taken. And potentially the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner can impose a suspension, of course, of a Member of Parliament, which Keir Starmer is, and that could lead to a recall petition potentially and a re-election, a by-election in his constituency. So that would be the end of the Prime Minister, I think, on that basis. But
Yes.
you know, we're jumping ahead a bit, but that's the potential consequences of lying to the Electoral Commission and of not properly declaring donations.
It's a serious story, very serious indeed. Well, I hope you continue to pursue it. Meanwhile, back in the sort of world of immigration control, we were told last week that the new one-in, one-out scheme was a massive success because they've proven beyond a reasonable doubt that they can send people out of the country. They sent one person, then they sent a second person, then they sent a third person. That was all done by Friday. I don't know what's happened since then, do you?
Well, we know 9,909 people have come in that period of time, so I don't think it's exactly one in, one out. I mean, we knew this was going to be a failed policy. It's embarrassing for the government. The numbers of people coming over on the small boats has increased by virtually 50% since they took office. This failed policy smashing the gangs, which we told them wouldn't work. There's only one policy that will work, and that's the deportation policy back to the people, illegal migrants, home country, or to a third country where they can't be returned to their home country. That's what we legislated for in the last Parliament. Labour and the Liberal Democrats opposed that 134 times. Then the courts opposed it. We had to re-legislate again. And then just after then Labour took office and scrapped it all. That would have worked, so there's no doubt about it, and we need to re-implement a policy like that. We have said we will do that. We'll deport all illegal migrants from this country. That's what needs to happen. Kemi Badenoch is strong enough to do it. We need to make probably some changes to the law. That will be announced very shortly, exactly what we're doing on things like European Convention on Human Rights and refugee legislation. We need to make sure we can control our borders and that Parliament and the courts can't stop us doing that.
And what's going on with the ambassadorial job in America? Because Peter Mandelson, I'm told, is still occupying the ambassadorial residence. I don't know if that's true. But when are they going to announce a new ambassador?
Well, it's a question you should probably put to Keir Starmer or one of his ministers, I think.
Well, I would if they came on the show,
no
Kevin,
why
but
he's hanging around
they never come on the show, you know, so I don't get to ask them.
Well, you're too tough a questioner. There's too many questions to answer, I think, and they wouldn't really like to give answers to, I think, Mike. But another one for them in terms of actually doing something. But there's so many things they've got wrong right now, particularly, of course, on the economy. They've got disastrous policies on the economy. We're in my opinion, Mike, the only party that won't bankrupt this country. We've got a sensible approach to doing all the things we need to do in terms of things like migration and making sure we make sure we've got a strong economy without breaking the bank. You know, it's really important that we make sure we live within our means, which means good welfare reform, which is making sure our public sector becomes more efficient, and we can then pay for all the things we need without having to overtax people and without having to get into that doom loop that Rachel Reeves is in terms of raising taxes, which further depresses the economy. So it has to raise taxes again, and then you carry on like that. It doesn't end in the right place at all.
No, it just be right behind backside, I think.